Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Alana McIntosh. I'm a real estate broker in New York City. And today, joining with me is Mrs. Jacqueline Gathers of Pillar to Post, a home inspections. Jacqueline has been a property inspector here in the five boroughs and in New York City in general. And today we're going to discuss the importance of property inspection and what home buyers should look for in a property inspection. So Jacqueline is going to shed some light on this subject. And Jacqueline, welcome.
Thank you, Elena, for having me today. Again, my name is Jacqueline Gathers. I'm a New York State licensed home inspector and owner of Pillar to Post Home Inspections. Our goal is to make sure first-time home buyers get a quality home inspection and that they understand the process. So we always tell our first-time home buyers, we know Mercedes-Benz is a high-end, high-performing vehicle, but would you buy a Mercedes-Benz without test driving? Absolutely not. No, you would not. So why would you buy a piece of property worth a $500,000 or $250,000 and not have a home inspection done? Okay, that home inspection that protects you, that makes sure that the property that you are purchasing is in good condition. And if there's any issues, again, it's all about transparency with the home inspection. I tell Elena all the time, no home is perfect. Okay, we don't care about the cosmetic stuff. We don't care about missing doorknobs a hole in the wall. We're concerned about the main arteries of the home, the bones of the home, the roof, mechanical systems, the electrical, the plumbing, the foundation. Those are things that we try to focus on because those are the things in the long run that's going to cost you a pretty penny to get repaired. And just as a comparison, your body. If my nail is broken, I can go to the nail salon. They can fix it and make it look brand new. But if there's a problem with my heart, that's going to affect how my body operates. And it's the same thing with a home. You know, if a doorknob is missing, we don't care. That's cosmetic. We can replace. There's a hole in the wall, we can plaster that. But if there's an issue with the roof, okay, if the electrical is not functioning as designed, if there's a problem with the plumbing system, if the foundation has cracks and shows compromise, those are areas that's going to affect how the house functions. And those are the things that we kind of focus on.
Amazing. So, in working with home buyers, I know that there are many pitfalls that come with purchasing a property, whether you're purchasing a co-op or condo, a multifamily building, a single-family home. Property inspections are necessary to determine, the overall health, bill of health, rather, in a property. And so, how would you compare like an apartment, let's say, as opposed to a single family house? What are some of the highlights that um, home buyers should look for? I know with an apartment, there is a monthly fee, an HOA, a common charge, a maintenance, depending on the property. And those fees do cover some of the expenses or the issues with the property, but they're limited. So can you shed some light on the difference?
Okay, so you brought up a good point. One of the things I get all the time, co-ops, condos, new construction, should you have a home inspection done? Absolutely, absolutely. Apartment style real estate is a little different. Okay, the main arteries of the apartment unit, like the roof, okay, the boiler system is shared throughout all the shareholders. So if anything goes wrong with it, it's not the responsibility of the buyer. The building takes care of that. So those types of things we do not inspect unless, okay, some new construction condos, okay, each unit has an individual boiler and a hot water heater, and absolutely will inspect that. If the unit comes with rooftop access, that's part of the unit, we'll inspect that roof. Okay, so certain areas, depending on the type of condo or co-op, some things are included, some things aren't. And when we look at an apartment, what we're looking at is stability. Okay, we check every door, we check every window, we check the floors to make sure they're level, we check the outlets in the kitchen and bathroom in particular to make sure that they're properly grounded so water gets in it, it won't start a fire or automatically shut off. We check and make sure that there's no moisture around the tub, toilet, because a lot of times in apartments, there might be moisture under the tile that's not visible to the eye, but that water is
Right.
going someplace. So we check around the unit's toilet tub. We turn on all the water. We want to see how the plumbing system manages all the water at once. So we'll turn on the sink, we'll turn on the tub, we'll flush the toilet. And if we see the water's going down slow, then that's an indication to us that there might be plumbing issues. We use what we call an infrared scan, and that picks up moisture in the walls that's not visible to the eye. So we always scan around the toilet, we scan around the tub, we scan the ceiling to make sure that the unit above you doesn't have any moisture that they're not aware of that can conceivably be coming into your unit. We like to scan around the window frames because sometimes the brick pointing is not up to date and there are little cracks, and that moisture is going through the brickwork and it might be entering behind the walls of your unit. So we do a pretty extensive inspection of co-ops and condos, and we want to make sure that the client understands if they have any questions that they would like to ask us. A lot of times they want to do renovations, and we'll kind of let them know, bring in a structural engineer if you're taking down walls, because some of the walls are the low bearing walls, and you want to make sure that you're not compromising the unit by taking down walls that should not be taken down, and things of that nature.
Yeah, I know sometimes buyers get discouraged when they find out what the average fee is because every inspection is different, right? And so the fee is um, it varies based on the size of the property, the location. So what are the fees? I mean, I know it's not a fixed like a fixed fee, but I know that it varies. Can you give us a range of like where they start, like a basis point up to?
So we're a unique inspection company in the sense that we are there before the inspection, during the inspection, and after the inspection. We have different inspection packages. We have a basic inspection package that most of the time our investors like that. They just want to know about the bones of the house. They don't want the bells and whistles, and they just want a basic inspection. Or we'll do a basic inspection for a family that's already lived in the house, so they already know all the problems. So they just want a basic inspection. We have something that's called a premium inspection, and that inspection is unique in that it comes with lifetime maintenance advisory. So that means as long as we did the inspection, pillar to post, we archive all our reports. You can call us a year later, 6 months later, after you've been in a house a month, and we get the calls all the time, and you can ask us questions about different things. If you want to do a renovation project, we'll kind of pull up the report and answer some questions that you might have. So let's talk prices. Condos and co-ops are different than houses. So we use a formula based on the age of the property, the square footage, and the type of property. So an average basic inspection for a co-op or condo under 1,000 square feet is about $500. When you go into that premium package for a co-op or condo, you're talking about $700. And I didn't mention also we have something new with Pillar to Post. Your premium inspection, you get a 360-degree tour, virtual tour of the property, plus floor plans if you would like to have that. We have the capability to do that.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it is. The clients, they just love it because a lot of times they want to send a clip to their family that lives out of state that's not here, and they can do a virtual tour and see everything in the house. So for a single family house, 1,400 square feet, a basic inspection would be about 600. When you talk about that premium inspection, you're talking about maybe 750, 800. So the prices range. Again, we're not a cookie cutter home inspection company. We really focus on education for our clients, and that's what's important to us. We want to make sure that after they move into their house, we are available to them if they have questions, and we just want to make sure that they understand the process, and that if they do have questions, they can reach out to us. We're there. We never go away.
So, what would you say are the top, like the top five subjects that, or topics, or just areas that home buyers should look for? First time home buyers, they're coming to the property, they're nervous, right? This is their first time purchasing a property. They don't know what to ask. Okay. Um, so they come to the, let's say, a single family house, for example. What are the like the top five things they should ask
Oh,
at a property inspection with you?
okay, so your main areas, those are the areas that those are the bones of the house, okay? Those are the areas that if there's an issue with it, it's gonna cost you money. And we always talk about the roof, okay? They should know the condition of the roof, the boiler, the electrical system, the plumbing, and the hot water heater in the working with the boiler. So those are the main areas that we always talk to clients about. We make it really easy for them because after the inspection, we give them a binder. And in that binder, there's a list of areas that they should inspect every year in their home. So it's a checklist. So we make it super easy for you, front and back cover. It tells you every area in your home. Your first time home, you're decorating, you're buying furniture, but we always tell our clients, don't be that homeowner that goes to your attic when there's a problem and you haven't been in the attic in 5 years other than to throw the luggage up there or the Christmas tree. So we take checklist. We tell them to make copies of the checklist, put the year on the top, and every year inspect these areas in the home. We make it super easy for them. And that way you know your home. And from year to year, if you see there's a problem, you're gonna see it right away because you look in the attic every year. You don't go in there every 5 years. Or some people they don't get their boiler maintained once a year. You should have some routine maintenance done on the boiler. Just like you get your oil changed on a car, that's going to prolong that $30 oil change is going to prolong the life of the car. The same thing with the boiler. We always tell our clients once a year, have the boiler inspected, routine maintenance. In the boiler, they'll get to know the boiler, you get to know the boiler, and they'll kind of let you know when it's getting near the end of its life cycle. So those are things, again, we're big on education. We give them a binder with information that they can refer back to. Again, we make it super easy for them to we make the list for them to check those areas in the house so they'll be well versed. If they don't know what they should be looking at, we wrote it down and it's on a checklist for
Fantastic. Now, I know another issue that comes up during the property inspection, especially with older homes, are termites.
them. Yes.
So let's talk about termites in a termite inspection. Is that included in the package? And how does it, how do you, determine termites in a property?
So termites is an added cost with the inspection. So when the inspector is inspecting, if he sees signs of termites, he'll let the client know, and they can add it on the spot, and he can do the inspection. Certain types of mortgages like FHA and VA, they require that you have a termite inspection done. And in those wood frame houses, it's always a good idea to have it done because termite is it's not impossible. If a home has been treated for termites, the rule of thumb is that if there are termites, you get it treated every 5 years. You get that home treated for the termites, and then you won't have any issues with it.
Great. And does your company offer a termite warranty on the
No,
inspection?
we'll do the termite inspection, and we'll refer you to a company if it needs to be treated.
Okay. And let's
Mhm.
talk about mold in a property, and especially in the basements.
Yeah, that's a we again, New York State changed their rules on mold. So when we see mold in the property, we always refer the client to a mold assessor because that's all they do. They can come in, look at the mold, they can figure out how to get rid of the mold, and they'll give you something in writing that the mold has been taken care of. Because first they test it, and they'll test if it comes up that it is mold. Some types of mold is just a housekeeping issue, meaning you're not ventilating properly and you wipe the area with bleaching water, it'll go away. As long as you ventilate, it won't come back. But if it's extensive mold, meaning it's spread to the wall, behind the walls, they have to have it tested. The mold mediator, sometimes it involves cutting that dry wood out to remove that part of the mold. Once they do that, they test again and they give you a clear bill of health. But we always talk to clients about how to prevent mold, particularly in the bathrooms and the basements. It's really about ventilation. And sometimes with mold in the basements, it's because there's a quiet little leak. And we talked about earlier looking at every area of your home. You might not have that leak, but if you never go in your basement, that little leak has been going on for a couple of years and you never paid attention to it, you catch them early, you find out the source of the leak, okay, you clear it, and then you're good to go. But that's why it's important to go through your home and look at every area. So when little things start, you can fix it when it's not costly before it turns into a costly job.
Some, and then another, I know another subject that comes up, that sometimes comes up in a property inspection is asbestos.
Mhm.
I know asbestos around the pipes, especially if it's an older home. Can you, let's talk about asbestos. Tell us more about, what is asbestos
Okay,
and what
so
does it work? Yeah.
asbestos type of carcinogen, okay, as long as it's not disturbed, it poses no threat to you. Meaning, if it's contained, and normally it's those pipes and the insulation around the pipes. As long as it's controlled and it's contained and there's no openings, there's no cracks or anything. But when we see that that has been compromised, we'll put it in a report and we'll have the client get it tested and then just make sure those pipes are sealed so that the asbestos doesn't disturb anyone. Because as long as it's not disturbed, it's not a harm. But when we see that there's areas that's exposed and it might be asbestos, we refer them to a company to come out and do an assessment.
Awesome. Now, is asbestos required to be removed prior to a first-time home buyer purchasing the property? Is that something that's required?
Well, if it's exposed and it poses a threat, it should be removed. And normally that's something the seller will take care of
Okay.
because it's their house, it's in their possession. That's going to go in the report. It's all about transparency, and they should call in someone to have it removed.
Fantastic. And let's talk about cesspits or cesspools. Is it cesspools? Cesspool?
Cesspools. Mhm.
Cesspools. Let's talk about cesspools. Um, how do you inspect cesspools? I know that they are found in mainly in homes in like
Long
suburban
out.
areas like Long Island, Staten
Mhm.
Island, New
Mhm.
Jersey, upstate New York. Not necessarily in the boroughs.
No, we don't see many in the boroughs. More
Right.
Long Island, maybe up in Westchester. We don't inspect cesspools. What we do is we'll have the client, the seller, because cesspools have to be routinely maintained. We always tell the buyer to get the records from the seller the last time they had it serviced because they have to be cleaned routinely, they have to be serviced routinely, they have to be maintained routinely. And that's normally what we'll ask for the paperwork. If the paperwork is in order showing that they've been routinely maintaining it, if it has not been, we always tell them have a cesspool inspector come in and take a look at it.
Now, have you seen any unique situations like concerning electrical? Like
Oh,
what are the I'm sure you have a million stories, but like let's talk about the electrical because I know there are so many unique situations with the electrical. And sometimes the home seller they get creative and in the electrical wiring that's not necessarily legal, but let's shed some light. So what is the average or legal ampage for a home, the electrical service to the home? What does that look like?
depends on the size. On average, they're like 100. The main thing that we find is when we do our inspection, we take that electrical panel off.
Okay.
We want to see what's behind there. The main thing that we find with electrical panels that's not proper is double tap. Okay. Each one of those units is supposed to have one wire. A lot of times electricians take shortcuts. They'll attach two or three wires to one, and that's a no-no. That can cause an overage. That can cause an electrical fire. Those are some of the things that is just really a no-no. A lot of times in the older houses, the electrical hasn't been upgraded, and they still have the two-prong system. And that's always a red flag that you know what the electrical needs to be upgraded. Because that's just not enough juice for today's world with computers and all of the techie stuff that people use. The other thing that we always find is outlets near water, kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, have to be properly GFI, meaning that it's a special type of outlet in there So if water gets in there, instead of causing a fire, it will automatically shut off. A lot of times those outlets are not grounded properly. And that's not a complicated fix, but those are some of the common things that we find in kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry rooms. The outlets are not properly grounded. Sometimes they have outlets, especially we see in renovation jobs. The outlets are nothing. There is an outlet there, but there's like it's not connected to anything. So we use our testers with the outlets throughout the house and we check to see that they have current. And sometimes they don't have any current. So it's like, okay, so what's it here for? For sure. So we've seen some weird things with electrical. But the main thing is the double tap. And that's one of the most common things that we see when we take that electrical panel off. And that's a no-no.
Now, I know that as of January 1st, 2023, there will be no more gas um, service to new developments. And so any new development that is going to, if anyone is going to purchase in a new development, they are going to be purchasing a property that is going to have all electricity and no gas,
Mhm.
which is kind of good. But I'm just, let's talk about, what should the ampage, what should that look like in a new construction? Is it still 100 or is it higher? Is it
Well, it depends on the size, and that's the main thing with this is the size of it. We get a lot of first-time home buyers, particularly out in Long Island, and this is a similar scenario. The house might be running on oil.
right?
They'll say, "Oh, should I get rid of the oil and convert to get?" They both work fine. If there's no issues with the oil and you're getting it, blah blah blah, this that and the other, there's no reason to run and convert. I feel the same way about gas and electric. It's not a big issue. I think electric is more streamlined. Okay, you don't have to worry about gas, this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. So I don't see it as being a big difference. It's just the fingerprint is just going to be different. But it's for us, it's all about functionality.
Right,
Okay, as long as it's functioning and it's doing the job that it's supposed to do, the preference is really not a big difference.
right. Yeah, some people prefer gas, some people prefer electric. It's
They
as of
both.
January 1st, 2023, guys, there's going to be no more preference. It's just
Mhm.
going to be
It's
electric
going to be taken
unless
away.
your property is grandfathered in and or
Mhm.
oil, right, for heating and for services to the apartment. Awesome. And let's talk quickly about the gutters. I know the gutters are can sometimes be last thing that anyone ever thinks about. How often should someone clean their gutters in their property if they own a house?
So the roof is on that checklist. And one of the things we talk about on that checklist, like I said, you don't have to figure it out. It's all on that checklist. They should be cleaned once a year. I've seen gutters that are full of so much leaves and debris that birds have taken up company there. They've had their two generations of babies. This is how bad it is because no one ever went to the roof. They never looked at the gutters. They never had anybody take a look at the gutters. The rule of thumb is once a year. If you let it accumulate to that point where, and remember, the gutters serve a purpose that runs the water off the roof, down and away from the home. If the gutters are clogged and full, they can't do their job properly. That means water is sitting someplace. And I always tell people water is more dangerous than fire because with a fire, you see the smoke, you put it out, it's a done deal. Water travels. You
That's
don't
right.
the water is traveling. You don't know where it's accumulating. You don't know how it's accumulating. This is why we always tell clients clean your gutters. Make sure your downspouts do not stop at the foundation, that they extend away from the house because the goal is always to keep water away from the house. And when you don't clean your gutters, the water is not being designed to run where you want it to run. It's going anywhere and you don't know where that is.
Awesome. Awesome. This was great. Yeah, so these are some of the top tips that we can offer you guys today in discussing property inspection and what is an inspector and what are some of the things you should look out for when doing a property inspection. And I know sometimes people really get discouraged when they hear the fee, but it is to protect you and your interests in this very expensive investment. And
Absolutely.
and so it's better to be safe than sorry.
Hmm.
And it's always good to have a professional eye, someone that's licensed that can look at the property and give you an overall evaluation to determine whether or not this is a safe and a good investment for you, um, and for you to purchase. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Jacqueline, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
joining me today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Again, this is Jacqueline Gathers of Pillar to Post Inspections. And Jacqueline can be reached at the information below. She can also be followed on Instagram at Jacqueline Gathers. Um, and that all of that information is going to be in the description. Um, Again, this is Alana McIntosh. I'm a real estate broker in New York City. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. And feel free to contact us with any questions you may have. We look forward to working with you.
yeah.